Hey everybody, this is Heartless Spartan here with another 1/6 scale Toy Talk review. Today I have the X06 Lieutenant Commander Data SX version from Star Trek The Next Generation. I grew up watching The Next Generation and I've always loved Data since I was a kid. Star Trek toys existed around my time, but I was too young for them to have been on the shelves when I was old enough to play, and so they were few and far between after the 90s, so I'm looking forward to opening up this Data figure. I do want to apologize if it seems like I'm fumbling through this review a bit. I've been sick for a while, again, teacher life, so please give me some leniency on this one. Otherwise, let's get into the review. Alright, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the box here. Whoop, it slides upwards here. I have a pretty decent portrait of our figure on the front. Nice little Starfleet logo right there. Another emblem on that side there. Get a layout of the SX version here, everything that comes with that, along with the extra stuff, like the head sculpt and the two versions of Spot. Then we have our senior officers and Q down here. That looks pretty cool. I like that artwork on that side. Now, this is just an outer sleeve that slides right off, and we get a look at our figure. Through a nice little window box there. Nothing really on the sides, just kind of like that Starfleet badge logo pattern all around the box. Some artist credits for the figure, and some additional information at the QR code there. Yep, I really have not opened this one. Try to do this quickly. And this, go ahead, slides out there. Oh, little card fell out there. We'll take a look at that later. Oh, in the back, we have Spot and the extra head sculpt and some hands. The little pad. And then on the inside, we have our figure. Some more hands, his phaser, and the tricorder. Let me pull the figure out real quick. And then down at the bottom, we have like a transporter pad stand. So I'm going to take everything out. And oh, okay, not like that. But I'm going to take everything out and then go over each piece. Okay, so here we have the figure and all of the accessories out of the box. Let's go ahead and take a look at our data. Let's take a look at the head sculpt here. I think that's a pretty decent Brent Spiner likeness there. I do like the head sculpt. I did expect the paint, the white paint, to be a bit brighter white. It seems a little bit dark to me. Like, the white is just a little bit too much of a dark complexion. I always just remember it being much brighter than that. So that's one thing that kind of throws me off about the figure. But the head sculpt otherwise looks pretty nice. Having him out of the box, like the yellow eyes, are much more noticeable. Doing my best to get my camera to focus. The downside is that the hair on him looks very plasticky. Although he always did have that kind of sleek hairstyle, didn't he? I'm not sure how I feel about that one, but I do think they have the look down pretty well. I just wish his skin tone was a little bit lighter. But other than that, there's a great amount of sculpting detail. And you can even see the spots in his skin there. And the lines on his forehead. So it is a very detailed head sculpt. I think it's well done. I just maybe felt the skin tone could have been a little bit lighter on that white paint color. His uniform, again, the color I feel is too dark. I just don't know if it's me or if the figure overall just they kind of went with darker colors, but I feel like the uniform needed to be a somewhat like brighter yellow than what we have here. Maybe that's just the idea I have in my head, but still. The comm badge is really nice. I'm pretty sure it's just maybe glued on, but I haven't had any fall off yet. His little rank insignia on his collar there for Lieutenant Commander. Go ahead and zoom back out. But they did a great job making the uniform crisp and very fitting. Like, it's got the look down. Except maybe the color. I feel weird about the color, but I'm going to let that go. Now, it does feel like he has, like, maybe like a piece of padding underneath. Like, the figure itself is thin, but then there's a padding underneath the shirt to kind of flush it out and fill it in a little bit more. And his pants, nice and crisp. That little V going over the shoes. And I like that they're strapped down too, so they stay nice and taut. Backside. Now, articulation. Good head movement and rotation, swivel. Arms. Does it ratchet? What's it doing there? I don't know. It doesn't want to go out too far. That's about as far as like I feel comfortable pushing that, because then it's not letting me go much further. So that's weird. Why is it doing that? Huh. I can't T-pose data? Not that I would, but it kind of surprises me that the articulation kind of stopped there. Swivel on the wrists, that's expected. Do I have the same issue on the other side? What is the limitation here? Oh, there we go. Okay, maybe it's just the ball joint getting kind of... Man, I really don't want to snap it or something. There we go. I had to push it a little bit further than I was comfortable, but it kind of ratchets a little bit. And it was just getting stuck on me. Alright, so, yeah, we can bring his arms up if we really wanted to. It wrinkles up his uniform, though. But we got the same thing on the other side. Going back. Now, what about the waist? I think it's like he has a middle belly section. So it does let us bend and rotate the waist. Yeah, we could see that black foam piece underneath that kind of fills it in a little bit. Pull the shirt back down here. Oh, there are like little pockets there on the side. How about that? Now legs. The pants are tightening up on them because they're also taut down here at the bottom. But, you know what? I think we have expected articulation on the legs. It's just the tautness of the pants is kind of limiting the articulation a little bit. To be expected. But, you know what? That helps keep his uniform nice and crisp. And the ankles on a ball joint. So pretty good likeness. The colors are a little bit darker than I would think they should be. but I do really like the figure. So I'm going to go ahead and set data off to the side for right now. And take a look at the accessories. Now, the accessories I'm going to look at first are the ones that came with the SX edition, which would be these things. So let's take a look at the head sculpt first. So this head sculpt is, I mean, very similar to the one we have. Maybe a little bit more of an eyes open expression there because he's receiving maintenance. But this edition and this head sculpt has a side panel that we can see Data's positronic brain. So maybe when I unbox Geordi, I'll have Geordi working with Data there in the future. Something to look forward to. But not a bad head sculpt there either. I do like these. Is that paint? No, that's just the shadow. Okay. Set that off to the side. And I like... Maybe you could even do like a thing where it's like... when Data's in pieces or when they find lore and he's holding the head, it just might look a little bit extra weird because of the neck peg. Now we also get two variations of Spot. One where Data could be holding Spot on his arm there. Or you can set Spot on a display. Just have him lounging on something. Not sure if Spot was a boy or a girl. I don't know. Not really a question I need answered, to be honest. And one of Spot sitting. Basic sculpt. The face is very smooth, but the fur has some texture detailing there. But it's a nice inclusion. I like how on this Spot, though, they have the little paw pads painted on. Now, in the SX version, he also comes with a pad. You can see a little bit of detail there. See a diagram of the Enterprise. What do we have on the back here? It's somewhat readable. I'm having trouble holding that still right now, though. Still a little bit sick. Okay. I think we're getting into what comes with the regular edition of it. Now, we get a Type 2 phaser. Now, it's not metal. It's a light plastic. I'm not sure if this has the magnet in it. I know this one does. The holster has a magnet, so that when you put the phaser into the holster, there's a magnet in the pants on either side of the figure, so that you can just set that right on there. He's already collecting fluff. And here we have our tricorder. Have some detailing on the outside there, and it comes in halves, and this does have magnets in it, so that you can take this piece and set it down on there, and we have that nice detailing of the panels on the inside. Now if I fold that back down and I stick that into the holster also has a magnet that can attach to either side of Data's pants there. Now he comes with additional hand sculpts. Go course, we get a left and right closed fist. We get a phaser holding hand, which means if I grab this, there we go. That grips that really well. That's not going anywhere. We have a flat hand. And we have a hand that can hold the tricorder. Let me get that out real quick. Let's flip that open. And I can actually pop that into his hand. And that's not going anywhere. Now it also comes with this rather nice transporter pad display stand. Now this clear acrylic piece can lift out, and it can be replaced with this kind of like larger transporter pad plastic piece. But of course, this would go here, the crotch stand. But it also comes with these little accessories where these pieces, I do believe, would be some kind of connectors that would go onto the ledge. Same with this one. And I think this is for our display card. So if we look at this, we see the what is it? The Enterprise D with Lieutenant Commander Data's name down here at the bottom, a bunch of trademarks. But that, if I even that out, can set on there like that. Now, that's an awfully large name pill, so it kind of blocks the lower part of his legs, but I don't think that's too big of a deal. I still think that looks rather nice. Set that off to one side. So, I mean, Data is one of my favorite characters from the show ever since I was a kid. He was probably my favorite. And I am ecstatic to just have such a detailed figure of him. Let's go ahead and get into a montage. love Data, and I'm happy to have this figure. The uniform is nice and crisp, and designed very well to keep it that way. The downside is that the color looks off and looks too dark of a yellow. I'm sure lighting has a bit to do with that, but I felt it was dark. His white skin tone looked a little dark to me too. It maybe should have been brighter, but I think they maybe didn't want to go too far in the other direction, or it would have looked even stranger. The sculpt does have great detail though, and his yellow eyes are great. The accessories he comes with look good. The extra in the SX version included the personal access display device, the alternate head with the panel to his positronic brain. Now, I did run into an issue when trying to swap heads. The neck peg is attached to a rectangular base plate slotted into the chest cavity in the figure, but that base plate slipped, and I thought I snapped the peg, but it slipped down into its holder. It took me a while, but I managed to stand the base plate back up and upright the peg using tweezers and pliers. It's just another journey with this scale of figures with different brands, I feel. Even the articulation on this one took a little finagling to get moving. Now, of course, my favorite accessories were the two versions of Spot. I had a lot of fun with those, as you could tell. If there was one more thing I'd want the manufacturer to include are extra skin-toned wrist pegs for the figure. I ask that for every 6-scale figure maker. Please include extra wrist pegs. It's a lifesaver. Otherwise, I'm still quite happy with my figure of Data, and I'll probably display him holding Spot for now. I hope you've enjoyed the video or found it helpful. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Leave a comment. It's always good to hear from other fans checking this stuff out. This has been Heartless Spartan. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.